Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Full Throttle Finance, a financial literacy podcast that is geared towards dissecting complex financial topics into fun, relatable discussions. I am Felicia, and I am your CEO at Queen Bee Consulting. And with me is Allison, who is our senior bookkeeper. Together, we focus on revving up financial foundations for athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders in business. Regardless if you're operating from an established program already or if you're just starting out, we're here to help you make small shifts that drive better financial performance.
In case you missed our previous episode, marked an exciting milestone, the launch of our very first Full Throttle Finance course. We shared the story behind why we're so passionate about creating educational resources tailored for motorsport professionals and enthusiasts. It's been an incredible journey combining two of our biggest passions, finances and motorsports, into something both fun and impactful. We talked about what motivated us to bridge this unique gap and how we're helping our audience accelerate their financial knowledge. Felicia, would you like to start us off by letting us know what we're going to discuss today?
Yeah, thanks, Allison. Well, into January is rapidly approaching, which is a super important month as a business owner. So we thought it would be fun to give you an inside look at what the chaos of January looks like from a bookkeeper's perspective. Especially if you are DIYing, we're sure that a lot of you out there listening can relate with us. We're all in this together.
Yeah, and so January kind of sucks for everyone who owns a business or who's a finance expert. Totally feel that. We're all in the deeps here, though. I mean, Felicia and I are feeling extra loony this year because we did the Cardinal now. We decided to onboard 4 new clients in the month of December and beginning of January because we're crazy. Plus, we decided to put out an educational course and
extra crazy. Yes, extra crazy,
right? To say the least, we're tired. But Felicia, for any business owners that are out there listening, can you talk to them a little bit about the things they should be prepping for this month in order to wrap up 2024 heading into the new year?
Yeah, Allison, there's a lot, right? The first place that I recommend that business owners start is with your transaction categorizations and your bank reconciliations. Hopefully, you've been keeping up with your transaction throughout the year, so you probably have about 1 month's worth of transactions, ideally, to catch up and clean up. But regardless, you need to get them categorized ASAP. You need your bookkeeping done really by last week because of the Q4 federal tax payment that was due and the deadline. It was due on 1/15/2025. So if you have not made your last payment for your 2024 taxes, then you have some homework to do after this podcast episode.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You also need your bookkeeping completed because there's a chance that you might also need to issue some tax forms like 1099s to contractors and service providers by January 31st of this month. So you still have a few days before that deadline if you're behind, if you're in the weeds right now. You need to schedule time with your tax preparer after you categorize your transactions and after you've done your reconciliation. And really, you want to try and get all of these things done as soon as possible in January so that you can start to shift your focus to your New Year goals and make sure that you're a step ahead of your competitors.
New year, new me. No, I guess that's not exactly what we want to talk about as a business owner. You should be setting new goals more and aligning your business with what you want to achieve this year as a result of last year. Felicia, why do you think it's important to set new goals for your business?
Yeah, that's a great question, Allison. And I think that this one kind of closely aligns with objectives that you commonly see in the motorsport world, right? When you go out on track, you usually have 1 or 2 goals at hand. If you're racing, your goal is to win. If you're not racing and you're testing, your goal is to always improve every single time that you're going out there and you're testing. You're trying to get faster each time. So the same applies with finance, right? Winning is the equivalent of finishing the end of your year exactly where you planned by managing your workflows and your budgets throughout the entire year. The always improving aspect comes into play because you set goals for the next year that are going to continue to help you grow your program. And you always improve by also making adjustments to your own processes along the way throughout the year to streamline, to make things more efficient, to use your dollars better, and you work towards these goals to make sure that you stay on track to finish Q4 exactly where you planned, which is back to goal number 1, win. So they're very closely related, and setting new goals keeps you from getting complacent, really. And, January can feel like a tug of war between closing out your prior year and building momentum for the future, right? You've got your year-end tasks like finalizing your books, preparing tax documents, reconciling your account, and at the same time, you're really still just trying to stay focused on all of the new exciting goals and things that you've got in play for 2025. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And as a business owners ourselves, right, we totally get it. The stress is real, but here's the thing. It's still important to stay on track with those year-end tasks. Getting them done now, it clears the path so that you can fully focus on 2025 full speed ahead.
Exactly. Felicia, you nailed it. While it may feel like these administrative tasks are pulling you away from your big picture, they actually are helping you lay the foundation for a smoother and more successful year. Staying organized and compliant now means you can avoid unnecessary roadblocks later on. It's all about shifting your mindset. There we go again, shifting your mindset. Instead of viewing these tasks as distractions or annoyance, think of them as investments in your business's future, which again is so nice to make it a more positive outlook. And here's the good news. Once you've checked these items off your list, you can give it your full energy and creativity to those 2025 goals that really light you up. So
that's right, Allison. And remember, everyone, right? It's okay to lean on support when you need it, whether it's your team, a trusted advisor, or professionals like Allison and I. You don't have to carry the load alone. Delegating or outsourcing some of these tasks can really free up a good amount of your time so that you can start focusing on what you do best, going faster on the racetrack. So take a moment, take a deep breath, try to stay organized, and tackle one task at a time. You've got this, and we're here to help you if you need any guidance along the way.
Totally great. And I'm going to shift gears a little bit. So we talked about 1099s earlier. And maybe for some people that are listening, they aren't super familiar with this tax form. Do you want to talk a little about it and explain why it's important?
Yeah, that's a great call, Allison. So 1099s are IRS tax forms that are used to report income that is not from wages, salaries, or tips. So it's not related to payroll. No payroll taxes are withheld. Most commonly for business owners, this form is used to report payments to independent contractors or freelancers that you've hired, service providers throughout the entire year. So if you've paid a contractor $600 or more during the year for services, you might be required to send them a 1099 form at the end of the year, depending upon how you paid them. There's a lot of intricacies to get down to whether or not you need to issue that form, but regardless, you still have to go through those workflows. And a contractor can be a variety of service-based professionals. So think the graphic designer who created your logo, or the marketing consultant who ran your ad campaign, or even like a freelance mechanic who helped out with the team responsibilities. If they're not an employee on your payroll and you pay them directly for their services, then there's a good chance that they're a good candidate for a 1099, and you have obligations to the government to send this tax form as a business owner. And it's not just limited to creative professionals or consultants either, right? You would send a 1099 to your accountant or your bookkeepers, just like us, who are not part of your organization. Your coach or your trainers that might work with your team, event organizers who might help manage events while you're out at the track, photographers, videographers, social media managers, all of these types of services, there's a possibility that you might have to issue a 1099. And, there are a variety of different 1099 forms. The most common one is called an NEC, which is a non-employee compensation, because they're not an employee. They're not going through payroll, and there's no payroll taxes withheld, right? That's the most common, but there's also very specific forms that you have to send out for rents paid, legal services paid, and interest payments that are made. There's a lot under the 1099 bucket.
Well, and unfortunately, we all just love giving money to the government, but can you can you explain why filing this is so important? I mean, other than obviously auditing, but can you please?
Yeah. So the IRS uses these forms to ensure that contractors are reporting their income, and failing to file these as a business owner can lead to penalties for your business, right? So through payroll, the government knows what taxes are owed to them because you're paying payroll taxes every single time that you process your payroll. But when you're paying an independent contractor, they have no idea how much you paid them throughout the year. So they don't know how much that independent contractor should be owing to them throughout the year, because they also have to make quarterly estimated tax payments as well too. So there might be filing fees that you have to pay out of pocket as a business owner to process these forms. It's the cost of doing business. It is that, exactly. But the good news is they are tax deductible expenses, so save your receipts and make sure that you categorize those expenses accordingly in 2025 so that you can take those deductions. And let's be honest, right? You said it. Nobody wants to deal with penalties or audits, especially when it is avoidable with proper planning. So make sure you get them filed timely if you don't want to pay fees to the government.
It's just like filing your taxes at the end of the year every year. You got to do it, and at least if you're aware of it, you can kind of plan for it. And
Exactly.
it's a good practice to collect W-9 forms from your contractors up front, ideally before you pay for them, right?
Yeah, you're correct, Allison. So, in case you are listening and you don't know what a W 9 form is either, it's another tax form that you're supposed to collect from an independent contractor before you pay them so that you know if you need to send them a 1099 at the end of the year or not. The W 9 will give you all of the information that you need as a business owner to determine if you need to send them a 1099. And so getting this form ahead of processing payment is best practice, right? Because people want to get paid. They're more inclined to give you this form if it's a contingency of them getting paid. So that's why it's best practice. Ask for it ahead of time before you get paid. You are much more likely to get it pretty much immediately from asking your independent contractors for it. And, you'll have all of the information that you need to put into your accounting system to know if you need to send them a 1099 at the end of the year.
And Felicia, not every contractor receives a 1099 form. For instance, if you paid a contractor via credit card or through a third-party payment processor like PayPal or Stripe, you don't need to issue them a 1099. Those payment platforms handle the reporting through a different form, the 1099-K, and it is issued directly from the processor to the individual who received the payment.
Yep, that's an important distinction, Allison. Thanks for bringing that up. And another point on that is that you typically don't send 1099s to corporations either. So if you use like one of these third-party payment processors that takes care of 1099s, if you pay them with a credit card, and if they're a corporation, like you wouldn't send a 1099, but you wouldn't know any of that unless you captured that W-9 in the beginning before you paid them, right? So most C corporations and most S corporations are exempt from receiving 1099. Though there are exceptions, like if a corporation provides legal services, attorneys and law firms often receive 1099s regardless of their business structure.
And that's such a good call out, Felicia. And this is why keeping your records organized throughout the year is so, so critical. Collecting W-9 forms from contractors before you pay them. That way, you have all the necessary information ready to go when it's time to file. And business owners, don't forget to get yours filed by 1/31/25. So the end of this month. You got till literally the end of the month. That's it.
Yep. And so since we elaborated on 1099s, we should also talk about employee W-2 forms, which the W-2 is another tax form, but it's for the employee, and it covers their wages, their tips, and any other compensation that they might have received throughout the year. And it also covers the taxes that are withheld from their paychecks. And this is another tax form that is due by 1/31/2025. If you're managing employees, we highly recommend that you use a trusted payroll processor like Gusto, QuickBooks, Payroll, ADP, or Paychex, something along those lines, because those services will handle all of the payroll tax filings and all of the employee W-2s and the employer W-3 forms that are needed to make sure that you are hitting the IRS deadline of getting these tax forms issued by the 31st of January every single year.
No, exactly. And these systems are worth every penny because they take care of all the heavy lifting, from calculating withholdings automatically, filing a variety of payroll tax forms on your behalf. Plus, they make it easy to track employee wages throughout the year. We've got a podcast pup.
Hello, puppy.
Hello. If you're not set up with one currently or unhappy with your current processor, we support businesses by completing payroll setups and conversions at Clean Beat Consulting. So reach out and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Now, as you're getting in gear for the new year, is a perfect time to make sure that you are classifying your workers correctly. And one of the biggest mistakes that business owners make is misclassifying employees as independent contractors or vice versa. And this is in every industry that we work with, right? That's a mistake you definitely want to try to avoid if possible. Misclassifying workers can lead to hefty fines, penalties, and back taxes. The IRS has very specific criteria in determining whether or not somebody is a W-2 employee or a 1099 independent contractor. You can't just choose what's more convenient for you as a business owner. And we know that this can be tricky, which is why we've actually dedicated an entire section of our Revving Up for Financial Success course to help business owners understand worker classifications better. You can purchase the course on our website under the Full Throttle Finance tab. It'll have all the information that you need to get started in understanding the difference between these two different classifications.
And we've been so excited about our Full Throttle course. Like, we hope you guys really enjoy it. And we are enjoying this podcast as well. Remember, you can pick up our course, Revving Up for Financial Success, on our website on the Full Throttle Finance tab. We appreciate you tuning in and taking steps to strengthen your financial foundations. If you found today's insights valuable, be sure to subscribe and join us next week as we continue to break down finances with a motorsport twist. If you're interested in booking services with us directly, visit cleanbeeconsulting.com. That's CLEANBEE consulting.com to schedule your consultation. We'll see you next Friday.